Well, this sucks.
The ending is the peak of all the problems of this series. All the problems and defects come here. First, even though episode 7 is not necessarily bad, the cracks in the wall were already beginning to be seen. First, we start to commit all those tropes of cinema and TV that we make fun of so much. Characters that were dead begin to come back. We fall into cliches that for me the most offensive is that in the end machines did destroy humanity, when the series literally starts from the premise that the machines did not kill the humans, and cliche ships become canon. For example, in episode 6, a very interesting moral dilemma was raised between Tessa, who is the mother figure / older sister of J and B. Basically, the protagonists want to cure Uzi and find a way to not be hurt by sin, but Tessa explains to Anne that the humans try to control the Soulbird, but by doing so, they seem to spread it to other drones, and that she was there to find out which drones were infected and destroy them to leave the Soulbird without a host and save the universe and its species. But she also doesn't want to hurt Anne and the others. That's why she tries to convince Anne to help her. However, oh no! It seems like they're predicting the plot. We have to make a plot twist now! In the end, all that moral dilemma was replaced by a plot twist Disney-style villain. From here, everything falls apart due to the little time left in the series, plus the atrocious pace. Let's see, my friend, if I tell you that the only cure— oh right, I forgot about the cure! Do you remember Doll? The girl that I mentioned a while ago? Her entire motivation, her entire role in the story revolves around finding a cure, since without it, the Soulbird users are eventually possessed by sin. Well, for 4 of the 8 episodes, we were looking for that cure. Well, in the end, it was destroyed. Sin and the Soulbird are practically a Lovecraftian god capable of materializing and modifying matter at will, who can create black holes. They had died, the cure was destroyed, and the protagonist was extremely unstable. Plus, she was literally in the center of a planetary explosion. How will they get out of this? Well, very easy. An explosion? No problem. Uzi survives without any explanation and teleports into space. How will they get back to the planet? No problem. By the power of love, and finds Uzi in space. And remember, if your enemy is a Lovecraftian god who has already possessed you several times and you're mentally unstable, just use the power of love and believing in yourself to not only resist mind control, but also to control that same god back. The power of love and friendship, bitches! I would like to say that I'm exaggerating, but it's literally what happened. I will not go into details. I already have a whole video talking about the final episodes, and another video with a summary of the series for those who do not want to see the analysis of all the episodes individually. But it's like that. The end is the epitome of all the problems that haunted this series. A desperate and abrupt ending, which seems written by a creator who wants to abandon the project as soon as possible. And I have already said it, Liam Vickers for me is not Thomas Astru, a pathological, incompetent, incapable of writing well. But here, I will be honest, I do not feel the passion for the project that was felt before. This episode does not feel like the end of a series, it feels like a season finale. There are useless characters. The villain was so powerful that they have to give her a downgrade more brutal than the one in Anthem. That is what I call it, not absolute end, absolute nerve. They left plot black holes. The Lunacy, who I already criticized, it was not until this moment that they finally decided to say that they are dating, and the treatment of characters did not help. True to form, Murder Drones decided to waste any potential it had. Here's an example. Jay is the leader of the Murder Drones. She was the antagonist of the first episode, and at first she was sold as a bad character and nothing more. But in episode 5, they showed us that her irrational hatred for Anne was partly out of jealousy, since she was very close to the human Tessa, being her best friend and the only person she opens up. But Anne was the favorite, and so she was jealous, or so it was understood. Despite everything, she really loved her best friend. Half of the nonsense that is episode 5 is a subplot of the two of them on a mission to save everyone. In fact, Jay's main trait is that she's blindly loyal to the company, and by extension Tessa. Well, it turns out that no, that all this time she was evil, and even though the villain brutalizes her best friend, she works loyally for her, even though they use her best friend's skin as a disguise. So what was all that subplot in episode 5 for? To make me realize that I wasted my time watching this series? Oh, it's not just her. Remember I said that Bee sacrificed herself? Oh, she's back! Don't worry, that has no weight in this series in episode 3. But not only that, it is revealed that in reality, it's not that Bee had kept her memories, but that she and Jay were working with the main villain, that Bee has been fully conscious, and that she has been carrying out genocides throughout the galaxy at Sin's request. For what purpose? Well, it turns out if she did that, Sin will let Bee stay alone with Ed. That is to say, screw the galaxy, I just want to be alone with my man. The worst thing is that her attempt to an apology seems more like the speech of a toxic girlfriend wanting to keep her ex tied to her. What a great character development, am I right? Besides, she kills drones for pure pleasure. I mean, she's just a crazy anime girl. And who with just one question managed to decipher that Tessa was Sin in the last episode. Here it falls into the most obvious trap in the world and doesn't even have a moment. And it's not a character here, he's an addition of Uzi, from co-protagonist to a Mary Sue accessory. Look, I already made a video about the end, so I won't go into more detail, but the ending is actually quite faithful to what this series was: incongruent, rushed, and disappointing. The series that started out making fun of tropes of fiction ended up failing like it had a tick of a checklist of cliches. So many plot twists in its attempt to be unpredictable, it took the worst possible path, and that's why I think that's the biggest problem with the series, above its pacing. The series wanted to be unpredictable, never taking the most obvious path, and even when the alternative was worse, in an attempt to avoid all possible tropes, the series got into a deeper and deeper hole that made you feel dissatisfied. That is Murder Drones for me. A series that wanted to be special but forgot to be basic. They bought paint but had no canvas. They took a good idea and inflated it so much that it seemed giant, but it was nothing more than air and a pretty shade. That left its creators delighted, who, in an act of arrogance, thinking that they wrote the Bible too, tried to make it go viral all over the internet, colliding with the cold reality of the apathy and disgust of many in the public. But they were blinded by the heat of the praise of their most devoted fans, who even now refuse to see that the Emperor never had clothes. I still have that speech from a YouTuber. I give a prize to whoever guesses where I got it from. But in short, Liam said, "I'm a genius!" And thinking he was writing the animation revolution, he made a series of unforced errors which could have been avoidable, and by the time he realized it was too late and the train couldn't stop. So just trying to get this over with as soon as possible, he kept accelerating to crash into the next station as soon as possible and free himself from that annoying burden. Sources?
I made it up.
Yes, obviously I don't know how the production of this series was, but just like the beginning of the series feels like it was made by an independent animator who was premiering his first series and obese but full of fashion, the end feels like it was made by an underpaid Japanese animator who wants to go home. A series that was more concerned with MatPat making theories about it than its characters. A script written with arrogant innocence, assuming that it will pass the test while it was selecting all the wrong answers. The script of this series, for me, is a gigantic Dunning-Kruger effect that goes at the speed of light, where it seems that they thought that they were revolutionizing animation while they forgot the most basic. They misinterpreted what their strengths and weaknesses were, and by the time they realized, it was too late. Now, can this be fixed? No, not at all. This thing was ruined and there's no way to fix it, because it will not continue. There will be no season 2, period. Yep, there's nothing to do. This was ruined. There's no hope for Murder Drone. But there may be something in the future that I think should be taken into account. As we could see, the potential was there, the ideas were there, something very good could have done with it. But remember what I said, this was the first project of an independent animator. Liam, up to this point, didn't have much experience as a showrunner beyond some pilots and abandoned projects. In fact, it's the first series that he finishes. I don't expect anything from Murder Drones anymore. Absolutely nothing. It will be forgotten over the years except by its most die-hard fans. But what interests me is Liam's next project. Think about it. He already has what he didn't have before. Experience. Remember, mistakes make you stronger. The creator of Murder Drones. But thanks to that meme I thought, and well, it's right, Liam has great ideas. He reminds me a lot in that aspect of Kojima or Kishimoto, a creator with good ideas but needs someone to help him focus them. Now he has the experience of a moderately successful series, with concepts that worked but that were poorly executed. So, if mistakes makes you stronger, for his next series, and with a good editor, this will be Liam Vickers. Let's hope that this meme becomes canon. For now, the guy is going to take a break. It remains to be seen if he will go on his own or ally with another producer. He may work with Glitch again in the future. As long as he doesn't leave for Spindle Horse, I'll be following him closely with much hope. On the other hand, Murderance has already been doomed, and that's all there is to say. But some may wonder why I say that mistakes could have been easily avoided if I'm not a writer. Well, very easy, since with just one extra episode, it would have been enough to correct most of the mistakes in this series. And I know this because it's already been proven. Someone already did it and proved it. Just one episode of just over 20 minutes was enough to fix almost everything. Oh wait, you don't know what I'm talking about? Oh well, I guess you didn't notice, but there was a slight intermission in the programming before the end. By the way, I did saw Liam's Q&A on Discord, but let me tell you something. Liam, that sounds like a good idea. I don't like what you're saying there. Didn't you think it would be a good idea to put it on the series?